So today's topic is about exploring geography and the history of the civilization, the Bharata civilization, kind of the roots of the Hindus, right? Where did the civilization come from, and how do we trace it back? And we have Dr. DK Hurry and Hema Hurry, DK Hema Hurry with us today. Yes, there's they are. Great to have you on camera. Thank you for joining. Do you want to say hello and a welcome and encourage people to share with us where they're zooming in from?
Namaste, everybody. It's lovely we are joining in from India, so it's late evening. And for those of you who are in the West, for us, actually, very interesting. We are going to be seeing about the notion of West and East in today's session. So, for those of you who are in the West from us, good day to all of you, and look forward to a wonderful session with you all.
Great. So, in today's session, we're going to get into the origin of Hindu civilization, right? Where did it emerge? How did it evolve? And how should we understand its history today? One of the fundamental questions that Hindu University of America has been, stood up for, and we're glad to have Dr. The Hurry couple, the wonderful doctors from India to engage with us in this thought-provoking webinar. So we'll take your questions, of course, but first we're going to go through foundational exploration of Hinduism through the lens of geography. And the history that goes along with it. With geography is so interesting, and you alluded to it, East and West. What is the center of your perspective matters a lot. So we're going to draw from traditional sources as well as contemporary inquiry. We're going to revisit familiar narratives and uncover deeper civilizational insight. So we're going to reflect, we're going to take a different approach and examine how narratives are construed, preserved, and understood. We're going to have a deeper appreciation of Hindu civilization as both ancient and continuously evolving. So wherever you are on the spectrum of just learning Hindu history for the first time, or you've written your book itself, you've already written your own book, right? It's designed to include everyone, teens, parents, lifelong seekers, and the dialogues that it opens up, right? That's the beautiful part, having those conversations with our friends or family instead of scrolling the screens or whatever else is using the screens for good today through Zoom, making it easier to connect and use this tool for spreading Hindu knowledge, Dharmic knowledge. But really, this subject today, exploring Hinduism from a lens of geography and history, is really important. And having a structured pathway to study those roots and the evolution and relevance of Hindu civilization in great depth, it's really I'm grateful to be here with all of you today. Glad to be hosting. Thank you, everyone. Prakashji from Toronto, Ontario. Thank you for joining. Saish Ravoji from South Carolina, Rupaji from Bay Area, Rani Ji from UK, but originally from Indonesia. Yes, maybe we'll touch on that today as well. Thank you everyone for joining. Got the poll up if you'd like to share
Indonesia
what
is
you're doing.
Suvarna Bhumi before colonization. Suvarna Bhumi, the golden land.
Suvarna Bhumi. Yes. Nice. And so that's Dr. Damal Kandarai Hurry, Dr. Hurry. He's a civilization studies faculty in our HUA Community Education Division. He's co-author and founder of Bharatnyan, and of course, his co-founder is Dr. DK Hemahariji. Also, and it's a dynamic duo thing that they got going. And they've traveled the world, they've written books, they have their own channel on YouTube, hundreds of videos. But we are glad to have them at Hindu University of America teaching this series of courses on exploring Hinduism. And they've been a wonderful uh, duo faculty to have. And what started out as one course or two courses is now a whole certificate program. And in today's webinar, we're just talking about one aspect that they've explored and made accessible. And we'll take questions at the end, but I'm sure your presentation is going to be amazing. And maybe later on we'll get into your background as well in some more depth. So with that short introduction, maybe longer than normal, but appreciate you, and let me hand it to you to get us started.
Thank you so much, Ankurji, for this very nice introduction. Very kind of you. It's always a pleasure for us to be on HUA platform and share knowledge about our civilization knowledge to all the people keenly interested in the subject, which is the very purpose of this HUA platform.
And it's lovely to have you as the host, always.
You bring in a lot of
Radiating
enthusiasm.
enthusiasm, exactly the same word. And I'm so happy to see this person, Rani Hariga, because, and she says she's from Indonesia, like Hari said, Suvarna Bhumi. I have a friend called Usha Iyer Raniga. So it's a mix of her name, Rani Hariga. She is Raniga, and they're from Fiji and settled in Australia. So she reminds me of her. Thank you for being here today. And thank you all for joining this session today. And so, like Ankur said, this is about looking at the roots of the Hindu civilization, but from a geography and history perspective. And the reason we felt this is another facet in which this civilization has to be understood is because when you say you are a civilization, that means you are inheriting something from your ancestors who actually helped create the civilization, who helped it form. So the moment you say you're inheriting, the word heritage comes from this word, from this aspect of inheriting. And what is the first thing that you inherit? You inherit the space where you've been living. So you inherit that land. And if you really see, all your culture, your practices, everything stems from the land where the civilization is formed. So if you want to really understand your civilization, yourself, your background, you have to go back to understand the land that gave birth to that civilization. And luckily for the Indian civilization, the Bharata civilization, as it is called natively by itself, we'll get into that aspect too. There is a lot of literature which talks about all these aspects and the customs, and more than that, it is the names that reveal a lot of information. So today's session is going to be how are we going to understand this geography from of this land by just looking at the very names that the land this and around it bears, and they give a beautiful clue into understanding various aspects of this civilization. So it's never like what is in a name. Everything is in a name. It is in the name. And this civilization has been very careful actually to name the children also very carefully to reflect what they want the child to grow as. So even a child's name means something which the parents would want for that child to possess. So given that, let's get started with therefore what do the names. So if you look at the Bharata civilization, we've been using the names interchangeably, right? India and Bharat. So, what do these two names itself mean and where do they come about? And like Ankur said, we use a lot of films. So, today we'll be walking you through a number of short films, some of which have been made by our students from HUA itself. And so, we will be looking at some of these films.
Great. That's such a cool idea. And I'm glad that over the years we've been able to develop this. Karine from Montreal, Quebec, thank you for joining. Vinod Gupta from Pennsylvania. Wonderful. Yeah.
So, let's start with what is India, that is Bharat.
Because if you look at our constitution, it gives two names, India and Bharat. So what do these two names mean? How did these two names come to be in the first place is what is important. We'll see each one. We'll start seeing first this one. Okay.
As per the Indian Constitution, this land is called India, that is, Bharat.
Why does this country have two names? Why is India called Bharat?
The word Bharat etymologically stands for Bha, that is light, the spreading of light, the knowledge which comes with the spreading of light, and Rat, one who is a connoisseur of knowledge. The spread of this land is also expressed in the literature of the land. In the Rig Veda, Rishi Vishwamitra describes the people living in this land as Bharatam Janam. The word Janam means people, citizens.
Bharat is the land where people relish knowledge.
So you can see here very clearly, we have called this land itself as Bharat. When we say it means a land that relishes knowledge. So look at the beauty of it. So no other country in the world calls itself land of knowledge. It's beautiful. Anywhere else, they give it some other geographical name or something else, but never they call themselves as a land of knowledge. Not only land of knowledge, but the people of the land relish knowledge. And this is the term that we have given ourselves 6, 7, 8,000 years ago, consistently through the times, as you've seen in the short film. Different people across centuries, across millennia, all across the land have come forth and held this knowledge up in high esteem and shared it thereon. And institutions like Hindu University America are platforms to share knowledge of our civilization and relish that knowledge, which is why we are Bharat, and the people are called Bharatiya, people who relish knowledge. People not only geographically live in this land, but people living here are relishers of knowledge, are connoisseurs of knowledge. That's why you have the word called rasika, rasana, that is you relish. Look at the word.
And so people who relish, who seek knowledge. So if you look, there are many seers, holy saints in this land who have this name, Bharati. So Bharati, they are people who seek and who are able to hold forth about that particular knowledge. So having seen what Bharat means, let's look at what India means then.
How did the word India come about is what we will see. And from where did this term come about, India? We'll see in the next short film. Just 2 minutes.
How and when did Bharat get the name India?
In the Persian language, the syllable sa was pronounced as her. So the Persians and Arabs who came east towards the river Sindhu called the land around and beyond the river Sindhu as Hind. From this came Hindu, Hindustan. As the word Hind traveled west towards Greece from Persia, in the Greek language, H was interchangeable with I, thus Hind became Ind, Inde. Greek scholars of 200 BCE, Hutinga and Ptolemy, both show India as Indi in their maps.
Thereafter, the term Indi, Inde, India came to be.
So you can see that clearly, while the term Bharat has got an antiquity of probably 7,000 years, 8,000 years and beyond, the term Indi is also fairly old, but relatively recent. That is, it's got an antiquity of 2,000 years. Because in many places, if you see an antiquity of anything more than 200, 300, 500 years, they call it ancient. Whereas in Bharat, the name India, which has been in use, what you call as Prayoga, the Indian term for it, for 2 millennia and more. And that's ancient, but relatively young. That's the contrasting beauty of it.
So now the contrast that emerges is that there is one name which is Bharat for this land, and another name India, Indi, which comes from Indi. So Bharat, if you look at it, it is something which the people of this land have chosen for their land, because they felt they are all people who like knowledge, so they have given this land. And in fact, Tankur actually mentioned, so they are going to talk about the aspect of east or west or center. So even before the name Bharat also, this land was actually called Ajanabam. So Nabham, Nabhi means center. It's a navel. Nabhi means navel. So, in a way, Ankur actually touched upon this point then itself with the word navel. So, Bharat is something that the people chose for themselves. India is how people outside this land have looked at this civilization. So, in today's parlance, we have words for this kind of a concept, this kind of a phenomena. The name that people choose for themselves is called an endonym. So, it is endo, it's from within. And the name that people from outside, the way they look at the land and the name they give, that is called an exonym. So there is this notion of an endonym and an exonym. And if you look at it, therefore, Bharat is an endonym. India is an exonym. So you are there from within, you feel, oh, this is how my land is. This is how I am. And this is what defines me. And people from outside, when they look at you, they feel, oh, this is how you are. This is how I can identify you. So they give you a name from their perspective. Both are right. And both have had their own reasons and their own specialities and their own use. So when you talk with for people from outside, then it is always better when you relate to it from their context. And when you are talking amongst yourself or thinking about yourself, it's better if you can relate with your own context. So these both have their own places. And we are now going to look at how, of course, there are instances where what we have called ourselves has been ratified by people outside too. Even though they have called you Hind, Sindh, Ind, and everything, they have ratified you as how you have thought of yourself
Look at
as
yourself.
people of knowledge. They
All
consistently talk about, even when they say Ind, it is a land of knowledge. That is how they describe this place. So that gives you the validation that people too have looked at you as a land of knowledge. Now we will look at a few cases where the endonym and exonym of different lands, which have been influenced by Bharat. This Bharat civilization has influenced the exonym of those lands. How did those names come to be because of Bharat? We've got a few short films and we would love to show you these films. So we are going to start with Croatia. Which one?
So let's look at the name of
Yeah.
see in the Adriatic Sea near the Mediterranean Sea in Central Europe, South Central Europe, you have a land called what today is called Croatia. That has got a very intrinsic connect with Bharat, that is India. For the next 2 minutes, we'll see this short film.
Croatia shares its roots with India. Over 4,500 years ago, the mighty river Saraswati flowed through the land of India, nourishing one of the world's greatest civilizations. But a massive tectonic shift changed history forever. The river dried up, and from its drying banks began a mass migration. Communities moved in every direction. Some went to what is now Afghanistan. From there, groups traveled even further west, into Persia and beyond. One branch made a journey that would span millennia, eventually settling in Eastern Europe, in what we now know as Croatia. A linguistic twist occurred to words as they moved westwards of India. The Sa sound often became Ha. Sindhu River and land around it thus came to be called Hind many millennia ago. Likewise, as this migrating group traveled westwards, they carried with them not only traditions but also the memories of their beloved river. The river in the region they settled in Afghanistan came to be called Saraswati, which morphed into Harahvati in local language. This is the region around Helmand River today, which was called by the Greeks as Arakhosia. As they moved further westwards across generations, the name of their land from Harahvati became Hrvatska. Their language also came to be called Hrvatski. Due to another linguistic tendency, the Ha sound changed to Ka sound. Hrvat became Croat and Croatia in Europe. But the locals have never stopped calling themselves Hrvats. Even today, Croatia's national internet domain is .hr, a tribute to their ancient name. On their football jerseys, including during their 2019 World Cup final appearance, the word Hrvatska appears proudly and not Croatia. Among the many cultural treasures they took westwards was the game of chess. It is therefore not surprising that the Croatian national emblem features a checkered design right at its heart. What began on the banks of the Saraswati still echoes on the shores of the Adriatic. To explore more about this fascinating Indo-Croatian connection, dive into our book's Autobiography of India, Brand Bharat, Roots in India and Indo-Croatia Connect.
So if you can see there, we actually written a book, Indo-Croatia Connect. It's about a 120-page flip book. It's available in our website, bharatgyan.com, for free read. So those who are interested. So having spoken about endonym, exonym, it's not just Bharat and India, but even Croatia as well as Hrvatska.
And look at the beauty. While Bharat becomes India because of the river Sindhu, Croatia gets its name because of the river Saraswati. And here, look at it. Look at the beauty. Here, the Sa and Her have interchanged to give India from Sindhu. And the Sa and Her again have got interchanged to give Croatia from Saraswati. So such a beautiful phenomenon that you can see that has happened over millennia.
So it is not just geography of the Indian subcontinent. It's not the naming of in the Indian subcontinent. The naming pattern has traveled across continents, across millennia to the East Adriatic Sea as well. It's amazing. Next, we'll see one more shot.
So now we come to the notion of East and West.
So the other big country, not just in Asia, but in the world as well, is China. How did China get its name? China has again got endonym, exonym. It's got its own name. And the internationally known name is China. Where does this name China come from? People generally say, oh, China means land to the east. But how? But why?
Why did the notion of this east, land to the east, come about?
East to what is what we'll, and why, and what, when. This is what we'll see in the next 2 minutes, please.
And this film is being launched today for your session.
Name China actually means? Prachin in Sanskrit means Ever wonder what the name China actually means? Prachin in Sanskrit means former, before, preceding and hence also east, for the region covered by the sun before. From this comes Prachin for ancient, that is times before us. From this notion of Prachin being easterly comes the word China to mean the civilization to the east. But east to what? East of Bharat. While China had its indigenous name,
中国
it is known world over today by the name China. For over 2 millennia, India's influence shaped China's spiritual and philosophical views through ideas, knowledge, and culture. Ancient Chinese scholars viewed India as the center of wisdom and civilization, the source of sacred teachings and higher consciousness. From the early centuries BCE, monks and travelers from China journeyed to India in search of deeper truth to study Sanskrit, logic, and Buddhist philosophy. The spread of dharma, yoga, and meditation flowed naturally across the Himalayas, transforming how China understood the mind and the universe. Hu Xi, the former Chinese ambassador to USA in the 1960s, said, India conquered and dominated China culturally for 20 centuries without ever sending a single soldier across her border. In ancient Chinese texts, India has been referred to as Tianzhu, which translates to the land of heaven. Why heaven? To Chinese thinkers, India was not just another country. It was the land of their Buddha, higher knowledge of teachers, saints, and seekers. A land where true enlightenment could be attained. In Chinese language, India is still known as Tianzhu, a sentiment reflected by the name Tenjiku for India in Japanese, meaning heavenly land. According to the Chinese, there are 5 kings of the world, implying 5 supreme unmatched people. China is the king of humans. Chinese people are obedient to authority and strong followers of government policies. The Turks are king of lions, representing courage and ferocity. Persia is the king of kings with wealth, glory, and fertile lands. Rome is the king of men, robust physique, and handsome faces. Finally, Indians, the king of wisdom, first nation to cultivate science and branches of knowledge. This proverb shows Bharat nurtured philosophy, sciences, and knowledge consistently through the land and the ages. All these speak of a deeper civilizational connect between India and China. To know more, check out our book Indo-China Connect on the Bharat Gyan website.
So very clearly it shows that what? Not only did we call ourselves Bharat, Bharati, Bharatiya, meaning people who relish knowledge, our neighboring civilization of equally great antiquity, that is China, looked at us not just as a westerly nation because they are the easterly nation, they looked at us as a land of wisdom. So you calling yourself Bharat, Bharati is one, but your neighbor for 2-3 millennia also calling you a land of wisdom shows that your neighbors looked at you as a knowledgeable person who was sharing knowledge to the world. So look at how, so this idea of endonymic exonym again plays itself here so beautifully as to how you look at the geography of the land, the neighbors of the land, etc. Now, when you talk of wisdom, when you talk of knowledge, the one place that comes to our mind is what? Kashi, a nagar well known for for religiousness, spirituality on the banks of Ganga. Similarly, for Bharat, Kashmir is also a center of Kashmir Shaivism, yoga, various ways of philosophy and knowledge. Kashmir has been a pinnacle, has been the fountainhead of it for this civilization of millennia. Both these names, Kashi and Kashmir, share the same root, to meaning to glow, to illumine. Illumine where? Illumine to knowledge, to glow. So both of those speak of knowledge. Instantly, there's a third place that also speaks of illumine, but on the other side of the Himalayas, and there's a fourth place. We'll see one by one. In the next short film, we'll see that.
Isn't just one. What if we told you that there isn't just one Kashi, but 3? 3 sacred geographies, one name echoing across time, and a forgotten story of how they were once deeply connected by trade, by text, and by truth. Kashi, Kashmir, Kashgar. Their names can be traced to the ancient root Kashyam, which means to shine or to glow. At first glance, they seem like distant lands. One rests south of the Himalayas, along the sacred banks of the Ganga. One blooms in the lap of the Himalayas, and one far out north beyond the Himalayas, appearing today as a distant outpost. But history tells a different tale. A tale of Kashi, Kashmir, and Kashgar, which weren't just luminous in name. They shone through what they gave to the world. By trade, Buddhism, Ayurveda, knowledge, and scholars. Most people know Kashgar as a Silk Route city in present-day Western China. But go back in time and you'll discover something stunning. Kashgar was once a Buddhist center with 10,000 Buddhist stupas. It wasn't just a stopover, it was a sanctum. And here lies a gem of Bharata knowledge, the Navneet Kumbh, known today as the Bauer manuscript. One of the oldest known Sanskrit medical texts on pediatrics was found here. It was discovered by Bauer, a British officer. This ancient treasure now rests far from its land of origin in the Burroughs Wellcome Library in London. The Silk Route wasn't just a highway of silk. From Takshashila to Kashgar, Buddhist monks, merchants, and scholars walked these ancient paths. Great travelers like Huenzang came to India by this very route, through Kashgar, then Bamiyan, and finally into the Indian subcontinent. Today we call it Kashgar, but that's not what it was always called. Its original name is Kashigiri, the Mountain of Light. Even today, the entrance gate proudly calls itself Kashigiri,
Look at this.
a name that echoes Kashi of the Ganga and Kashmir of the Himalayas. This isn't a coincidence, it's a cultural memory. A geographical symphony where three Kashis mirrored each other in spirit and purpose. History speaks through stupas, manuscripts, trade routes, and names. Kashgar wasn't foreign, it was familiar and familial. To reclaim the wisdom of our past, we must also understand its spread and influence. Kashi, Kashgar, and Kashmir are not just places in geography, but vertices of a larger Indian knowledge connect.
So we can see in this film this short film again, how we have actually many Kashi in Bharat. Not just one in Uttar Pradesh along the river Ganga. We just shown three Kashis to sample to say there are many, because being a land of knowledge and illumined, but there are all over Bharat, we have probably 20, 30, 40, 50 Kashis. That's a beauty, because all over you have the idea of illumine to knowledge. That's the beauty that you have in this. Now, having said this, our Purana very clearly express what is the extent of this land of Bharat. The next film we'll see from the east to west, what is it they say is the land of Bharat. And the film following that will show you what is the north-south. So we have a east-west domain and we have a north-south domain of what this land of Bharat is all about. Bharata Varsha is all about. We'll see in the next minute.
Let's look at the boundaries of this land Bharat, as mentioned in our ancient texts.
The boundaries of Bharat were well described as the great ocean in the south, that is, the Mahasagar, the high snow-capped mountains, the Himalayas, in the north. Him means snow, Alya means abode, Himalaya means the abode of snow. The easternmost point was known as Arunachal. Aruna means the first rays of the sun. It is not the disk of the sun, but the rays of the sun that precede the rising sun. Achala means hills. Arunachal is the hills that receive the first light. The westernmost hills, which form the boundaries of Bharat, were known as Astachal. Ast means to set, the setting sun as in Suryast. The hills on which the sun sets in the land of Bharat was called Astachal.
This whole geographical region has never been ruled by any one king. This land has been won, not politically, but culturally, And geographically, this land has been called Bharata.
Now we all know where Arunachal is. That's why you have a Pradesh called Arunachal Pradesh, eastern boundary of Bharat, that is India. Now the question is, where is this place called Astachal now? It does exist. There is a hill called Astachal, as mentioned in our Puranic literature, and especially the Puranas. And this place is not in present-day India, nor is it in present-day Pakistan, which is obviously part of the undivided India. Beyond that is Afghanistan, which has been a part of Bharat over the last century and a half, 2 centuries.
So now we are going to see where this Astachal actually is.
We written about this in one of our books, and there is a place even now. It is in the eastern part of the erstwhile Persia.
So this is the map of Astachal. I mean, this is the Caspian Sea. So we saw the Kashyap Sagar, right? In the three Kashmir. So this Kashyap Sagar, Caspian Sea.
There's actually one more film called Kashyap Sagar, because the English word Caspian Sea is from the Indian word Kashyap Sagar. Watch the film. There's one more film. For paucity of time, we'll not be able to show that film also, because we have so many of them to watch. Please watch the film on from our Bharat Gyan website, YouTube channel. You have this. So below that is a place called Astachal.
So at the southern tip of the Caspian Sea, to the east of Tehran in Iran, is this place called Astachal. I'll show you a slightly more elaborate map. So look at this. This is Astachal right here, very close to Tehran. And there are, so this is the Makran coast. So all of this was part of Bharat, and you have records of travelers who have written that the coast of Bharat starts here. And we have Purana very clearly saying that Astachal. So the word also, Asta Achal, here it is. And Achal actually has the same meaning as hill in Iran as well. So this is in the Elburz mountain, which is just south here. It's actually a resort today.
So this region is in the news for the last many months now. This is Hormuz Strait. Look at this word. Actually, this is Astachal goes far west beyond the Hormuz Strait actually. So this place Hormuz, actually the word comes from. It's a modern word being used a lot in all the news channels and discussions. Actually, it comes from the term Ahur Mazda, who is the Paigambar, the prophet of the Zoroastrian religion of those days, that was the ruling religion of Persia millennia ago, 2, 3, 4 millennia ago, which was because the Bharata Varsha is here and the Zoroastrian religion. So they were in connect with each other, constant contact with each other. So that is how you had this interchange. So we now see the geography of the land, east to west. You've also seen from Himalaya to the Mahasagar, north to south.
This north to south, actually, the borders, they have so much influenced even certain logos of this land. For instance, when the British were here, they started a department called the Survey of India, which used to actually sit and chart out all the maps and the boundaries. So for that survey, the logo became this particular the southern bounds of the land. The 1767 Survey of India,
That is 250 years.
Rameshwaram, defining boundaries of Bharat. Earliest mapping of the Indian subcontinent was in 1767 by the Survey of India. They chose a logo with the phrase A Setu Himachalam, meaning from Setu to Himachalam. It acknowledged that the span of the land was from the southern Ramasetu to the northern Himalayan ranges. For Ramasetu has been a defining point in the geographic definition of Bharat Varsha for millennia. It was recognized as the southern extent of the nation's natural boundary. Rameshwaram with Ramasetu has been defining the boundaries of Bharat for millennia. So now this is a very, very interesting point, because if you see in Rameshwaram now, just as we saw, you have the Ramasetu, which is defining the geography. But this geographical marker is coming from the history of this land. So this Rama Setu is actually a man-made setu. We technically call it a man-made accretion over a natural sea ridge. So because there was this debate close to a decade or more ago,
2 decades ago.
2 decades ago, whether this is man-made or is this natural. And people were taking a hard stand, is either this or that. But if you really look at it, it is actually both. It is a natural sea ridge on which there has been a man-made accretion from during the times of Rama. And that makes Sri Ram as a historical personage of this land. And now, therefore, this Rama Setu moves from the geography into the history aspect of this land.
As well, it is there geographically, it also moves history aspect. Please watch our film on this called Historical Drama, a 35-minute film, as well as our book Historical Drama, where we discuss this aspect very clearly. You can watch it later at your convenience. It's there in our website.
But now in
Bharat
this
Gyan.
short while, we want to give you a brief, a full essence of this entire historical timeline. So when was this Ram Setu built? How far back does it go? So Rama is historical, then who else is historical? And what are the time frames when they were born and they walked this land? So we'll just show you a very brief timeline for this. And I'll just share my screen to show you
This
the
timeline is what we part of our course as well. We'll be showing this timeline as part of the course that we the quarter that we
So look at this. This is the timeline of ancient Indian history. Because today, currently, all textbooks stop with talking about the invasions, the invaders, and the freedom struggle as the history. And to some extent, if you look at colonial history, they go and stop with Alexander. Alexander's visit to India around 325 BC becomes the benchmark. They do not touch upon this aspect of ancient Indian timeline.
And what they say is, the colonial historians, they say anything before Alexander in India is prehistoric. So they put the term prehistoric to it, and history starts with Alexander's visit to India. But we have been able to unravel in Bharat Gyan through our works and research and books and films that Alexander, yes, did come up to the boundaries of India, was defeated by the local northwest chieftain Pururava, and Alexander's name was Sikandar as per Indian records, and he returned as a defeated king. So, but our history goes back not decades or centuries, but millennia before that. You have Adi Shankara, Buddha, the submergence of Dwaraka in a tsunami. Before that, 36 years before that, the Mahabharata Kurukshetra war, and then the astronomical alignment of Kali Yuga in the sky. Because Mahabharata is an event that Kurukshetra event that happens on earth. Kali Yuga alignment happens in the sky. They happen in a window of time, not the same time, but in a window of time. Before that, you have Bhagavan Shri Krishna's birth. Then you also have the compilation of Veda, because this land, knowledge, this land of knowledge, the epitome of knowledge is the Veda. So you have a 12-year window when the Muni Shrestha, whom we reverentially refer as Veda Vyasa, but his given name by his mother is Krishna Dvaipayana, Krishna the island born. So he, along with a team of great scholars over a 12-year period, compiled the Veda, already composed by great scholars before that, great Rishi Muni before that. They compiled it in a format that we use today. So there's a 12-year window for that is called Shrauta Satra. And 2 millennia before that is historical drama. So all this timeline is also what we'll be discussing in this quarter when we do this subject. So that's an important aspect. So what is this quarter? What are we doing this quarter? Hema, I'll briefly explain to you in the next couple of minutes.
So fundamentally, if we look at it, actually, we have been, like Ankur said, we are conducting a certificate program itself in HUA, which comprises of about 8 quarters. It spans 8 quarters. And it's like a hop on, hop off. You can actually get in at any point and you can do the entire 8 as a cycle. Logically, we just start here at geography and history, and that's going to be the quarter
Upcoming
that's
quarter.
upcoming summer quarter. Then we go into divinities and dharma. Then we go into understanding the cosmology and calendar, then the society and culture. So when we do these four, we get an understanding about the Bharata civilization as such. So the ethos of the civilization, the culture, the practices, and what were the people like, and what was their kind of knowledge that they had. And from there, with that anchor, we then move on to understand the contributions they have made to the world in both the realm of matter and in the realm of mind. So, in the realm of matter, we look at people normally only talk about spices. So, we look at there are something which we call as the big five, and we'll see what they are, how they have been game changer for Bharat, for the world, and how the world has come to be what it is today because of these contributions. And similarly, in the realm of mind, we look at actually all the Bharat, the knowledge. So, what knowledge went in the form of sciences and arts and in the form of tips for lifestyle and living. So, all the spiritual aspects as well. So, science and spirituality, what has gone from this land. So, in a nutshell, these 8 quarters kind of give you a good understanding of this civilization, its knowledge, its capabilities, its character, and so what we actually call the dharma. So this is about what we have been doing. We've been collating, we've been gathering all this information, which we have been sharing. We are happy to share with everybody. And
These are
so
the
these are the
quarters.
8 quarters that you go on as a cycle. It's a cycle. So we just keep doing 2 years. And I think this is almost the fourth cycle or so that we are repeating.
Yes.
And it's fundamentally something that's designed for people, both grandparents sitting in one continent and grandchildren in another can both simultaneously attend.
Log in at the same time so that when they go through this course, post their course time, they can interact and they have points to talk. They have points to share. So it's a bonding type of families across continents too. It's beautifully. So because otherwise there's very little points to talk between grandparents and grandchildren. We're trying to bring the two because that is how we have to bring families back together in knowledge. Otherwise, people talk about inane things. Here you can bring back families, a dialogue among families in knowledge. That's
and their roots fundamentally.
Civilization knowledge. Yes.
So we're very happy to have been able to share this with you today. And
the course details are available in our Bharat Gyan website, which all of you can go visit. Also available in the HUA website. So you can, those who want to join the course, certainly welcome. Both in USA as well as India, in England, other parts of the world, Suvarnabhumi, Indonesia, all over, welcome to join. We'll be glad to interact with all of you in the course. It will not be a monologue or dialogue from us. It will be a multi-log, continuous interactive course where we discuss with all our friend colleagues as course participants and take it forward. India time, it is Sundays, 8:30 p.m. IST. For US time, I'm sure we have our friend Ankur who will give you the details.
Yes, great. That was amazing, the overview and getting into the details. I love those videos. I know incorporating it into the lesson, and we're glad to have you. So I put the details in the chat, right? It's exploring Hinduism, geography, and history. There's a link you can click through. It's Sundays, as you were saying. So over here, it's 11 a.m. Eastern. That's 8 a.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. IST. Starting July 12th. It's going to go until September 20th. And again, you get onto the learning management system. This is a great place to join HUA if you haven't yet. they explain so well how the families can actually come together, and we have so many examples of it now that they're four cycles through, and each time they're getting better, and it's different. Each cycle is unique with the different students who are in there. I know you've crossed over 100 students in some of your classes. The scholarship opportunities there for people in different parts of the world. And yeah, so we can go into some questions. Ruchiji is asking, what will the final paper project look like? Are there any deliverables or homework? So the details of the course, what goes into it, how do you teach it? Kind of almost like this a little bit. And then also if there's any students who have taken a class before and are in the webinar, maybe just ping me, let me know if you'd like to make a testimonial, and then we can have you on as well. So let me know if you're here and would like to do that. So Ruchi, thank you for asking that. How would you like to take that?
Yes. So actually, as far as the course work is concerned, it will typically be reading and watching the films that we put up in the LMS. All we put extracts from our book as relevant for the topics that we are covering. And there will be these kind of short films that we pick up from our extensive library, and we will put it there so that it's easy for you to quickly go and watch them. So that will be the kind of coursework you have to do. And at the end of it, for every session, or sometimes for 2 or 3 sessions together, there will be a quiz, a multiple choice quiz. So that is all there is to the coursework. But if you talk about what is the deliverables, the project work, then subsequently all that you wish to do, take this message out in whatever form that you want to, either directly go and talk to people and share this knowledge, or you can make short films, write blog articles. So all of these can be your kind of project work that you, it's not a accessible work, but it is something that you will assess yourself.
Actually, some of the films that you saw today were all being made by our students across different courses. So you're welcome to Ruchiji. You're welcome to the course. Certainly, we both would love to interact with you and your family and friends. And apart from what the course meant reading, it's all easy. It's all fun and enjoyable, written in a very light manner that you can see. And you can make such short films for which we'll be there to guide you, help you, make it ensure that the right wordings are used. You can use the tools of your choice. And once the films are of certain level, we'll be glad to host them also in our Bharata YouTube channel and share it like this in future webinars too, where your name is mentioned and there is a thank you note to your name too. So that would be your deliverable of your choice.
Nice. Right. Okay, great. So let's see if we have any other questions. I have the next poll up. Let us know if you're interested in enrolling in this course. Hariarji, thank you both for this excellent presentation. Truly most informative about our culture. Great concept of having both grandchildren and grandparents on a journey of knowledge together. One of the best topics to date. That's saying a lot. Hariji usually joins us. He's a webinar regular, so appreciate that.
I'm glad one Hari appreciates another Hari. Here is Hari Iyer appreciating Hari Iyengar. Thank you so much.
Nice. Yeah, I'll drop a link to the YouTube live. That should open up Ruchiji so you can share it for this, and then the link to the course I'll repost as well. Yes, the website. Paratnyan, let's get that in there as well. You can click right through there and see all of the wonderful work that they've done over decades now. Why don't we just take a minute about that, right? I always love your story about CERN and how you've gone and traveled the world and the large collider, right? And seen the connections about so many things. Just maybe how your previous life in academia and now you're more of a civilizational academic perspective.
Yeah, so this is a new avatar for us. For the last 25 plus years, we had different avatars before that. As Lord Mahavishnu has had 10 avatars in some story, 22 avatars, some other story 24 avatars. We have also had many avatars through our life of 60 plus years. And yes, we have had the good fortune of visiting CERN, the LHC, and watching, and then speaking about the knowledge of creation, Srishti Vijnana, from an Indian perspective, from a Vedic perspective, from a Puranic perspective, and sharing it with the scientists there, which were brought out as a film called Creation Srishti Vijnana. It's a 1 hour documentary film available in our website. Please go watch the film, and also
YouTube channel.
YouTube. In our website, you have the Bharat Gyan YouTube channel in which you can watch the films. So the two channels there, one has got all the short films, one has got the full and documentary films. Both channels are available. The links are available. Please watch it. The creation, same 1 hour films also been sliced and diced into 30 short films to watch at your convenience. So both options open. Please do watch, enjoy, and we'll all love to have you in our classes over the next quarters and beyond, so we can discuss, interact, knowledge, because we are all Bharati, people who relish knowledge, people who share knowledge, people who discuss knowledge. It's good.
Sesha. Thank you, Sesha, for attending. Sesha attended our sessions long ago, and
So the
he's
early
been
batches
taking these informations to lot other
as a teacher,
youngsters as
as
a
a teacher in
teacher.
US. She's one of the early batches. Thank you, Seshaji.
Seshaju, can I have you get on and say something? Is that possible? And next question, the medium of instruction, Satishji, is English? Yes. And then John J, nice question. And maybe you can also give it in the context of geography, language, right? The history of language and how that has had an impact. You got into at the high level, right? The name of the civilization and where it came from, but also the languages themselves, right? The way that the different languages have evolved and changed with Bharat and the geography. Or maybe you have a specific class on that too. But
Yeah. We do discuss languages also. Obviously, we have to, because it's a fairly well-designed course, and language is part of one of the sessions
In the
among the 8 quarters.
contributions. In the contributions.
We do discuss it. Certainly, yes. And you're welcome there to interact on that particular class as well. We'll be glad to share a lot of interesting inputs on that subject too.
I think Vinod Gupta ji also is, I don't know if it's the same Vinod Gupta ji. He used to attend our classes as well. There was a Vinod Gupta in our class earlier. Oh, there he is.
Namaste.
Namaste,
Namaste, namaste. Yes,
Namaste, Vinod Gupta
I
ji.
attended.
Yes, I do.
Yes. I attended all your courses. Very interesting. But only thing is, it doesn't stay in my brain. But
So
you
long
are
as it stays
wonderful.
in your heart, that's
Yeah,
enough.
that's true. It stays in my heart. That's
Absolutely.
wonderful. Yeah, and
You're welcome for one more round, sir. You're certainly welcome for one more round.
I will try.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you very much for the work you are doing. That's only I can say. Wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, I
God
would
bless
say
you.
this. Thank you so much. But at this point, I must say this about the HUA platform. It's so beautifully designed that, see, for instance, Vinod Gupta ji attended so many years ago,
Right.
but he still wants to go back. The course that he attended, the video recordings, the sessions, the reading material is still there for him. He
Yes.
just needs to go back to the LMS with his ID, and he can go back as though he's attending all the sessions now all over again.
No,
So that is
that is
something
very good.
very
Yeah.
beautiful about
Yeah.
what HUA has done in its LMS. It's
Yes.
the highlight of the LMS.
Very nice. Yeah. Now that's set up very nicely. Very nicely.
Yes.
And like you said, that you can go back,
Yes.
and see the things or tell somebody about it.
Yeah, and yes, go ahead.
And absolutely, Vinod, not only go back, we can go in the forward, and you can once again be part of the sessions, because we'd love to.
Yeah.
The inputs you bring in at the end of each session are so nice. We
Thank
recall
you.
that when
Yeah.
you
No.
bring in small inputs, nuggets, which adds value to the session. Please, we look forward to interacting with you again. And here there's a question by, I think, by
wait,
Asha.
before we go to the next question, Seshaji
Thank
is
you.
on. Yeah, Vinodji, thank you so much for joining. And right, that idea, and there's so much information, And maybe going through it again is necessary, but reviewing and having that access through the learning management system. Thank you for talking about that.
Yeah,
It's
these days I'm
really a
taking
nice
more
one. So,
Ayurveda, courses. That's why I could not attend, Ayurveda courses I'm taking these days.
Good,
oh,
sir.
nice, nice. As long as
Yeah,
you're finding something that you're interested in
yeah,
and
yeah.
engaging, that's great.
Thank
Thank you,
you very much for the
Vinodji.
work, Ankurji, or all of you are doing, very good.
Yeah, yeah. Where are you
Wonderful.
based out of, Vinodji?
Pennsylvania, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Very good. I have to connect you to Poonam G over there in Philadelphia. A little bit
Oh,
far, but
okay.
she's doing a lot with our friends of HUA, different initiatives. So if we know G, I'll try and do that. Thank you for joining. I'm gonna,
Thank you.
yeah. And now Sesha G, let's have you share where you're joining from and your little background, please.
Sure. Namaste. I am from Fremont, California. My name is Sesha. And I just happened to, do this during a time when the world was closed down, like during the pandemic area time. And so it was a wonderful, wonderful opportunity, and I can never forget the experience. And more than that, it was the revelation that, oh my goodness, I have come from a place where I didn't know anything about his treasure. And that still is an awe for me. And I'm a teacher, I'm a scientist and then a teacher, and I teach children. And every time I hear their webinar, it's awesome, awesome, awesome. I don't know what else I can say. It's each time I learn new, like, Dr. Hemaji said that they keep adding because they also come across things and they keep adding. So the courses become always again renewed, kind of in some form, and so much new information is learned. I mean, for anyone who wants to know about their origin and the richness and the realization that what they have lost during their education time, this is one of the places to start with. And HUA is a great, great place, a great place where it has been started by a few Indians, Desi, I would say Bharatiya, to teach about Bharat. And it will be very disheartening to not take advantage of this. So much dhanyawad again and again and again.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you, Seshadi. Thank you. Thank you so
Very,
much.
thanks for your kind words, Chi. And we have another person, I think, Asha Bajaj. She's asked, yes, this will be put up both in HUA YouTube channel as well as in the BharatGyan YouTube channel. All our webinars are 8, 9, 10, 11 webinars that we've done till date with Ankurji and his colleagues for HUA are all available in the webinar link in the BharatGyan YouTube channel. There's a separate play. We've got about 30, 40 playlists because till date we made about 937 films or so. That's all. So
That's all. Yeah.
so, okay.
Yeah.
So it's available. One among them is all the webinars we've done. So there'll be separate playlist for each webinar. You can go visit all the webinars. Each one is like this, a different one, which you'll enjoy overall.
Yeah.
Good.
And so
Yeah.
Asha
And
ji, depending on where you're also based out of, we can have also in-person forums and discussions to vet the information. I get where you're going with that, right? Seeing the video again and then doing your research, but also intent of ours is to connect with people in the community to have discussions from different perspectives. So this is great. And the course, the course is going to be where that forum and that discussion post this webinar, which is just kind of introducing the topic. We'll get into the resources and link to those resources through our learning management system and citations and the peer-reviewed journals and all of that kind of stuff. So, yeah,
There
Ashaji,
is a
thank you.
question here from Ruchi ji
Hmm.
about disproving the prevailing history. No, I think the Aryan Invasion theory has been already disproved over the last 10, 15, 20 years. And we have also written extensively about it in our book, Breaking the Myths about Identity. And
we will
hundreds,
be covering this as part of the history half of this particular quarter,
yes,
where we go and look at the myth of the Aryan invasion,
myth.
then the myth about Alexander's visit and to India and his victory over Porus,
It's a myth. He
which
was
is a myth.
defeated by the border chieftain Pururava. Similarly, the Aryan invasion theory, the myth of it has been disproved by not only us, which we will be dealing with officially in this course, but it's been well disproved. So we are actually now, after 25 years of solid research by variety of noble scholars, now we're just going to be just flogging a dead horse or flogging a dead snake. So it's reached that stage now. I think we have moved on to discuss about, not only are we talking about Aryan invasion, flogged and matters closed, because it's over, there's nothing in it. But we're talking about how the Arya, the noble people from the Saraswati banks, went all the way up to Croatia to set up the Hravatska civilization there. So it's the return of the Arya to our different parts of. So we're talking about the reverse migration theories into Turkey, into these parts, into Kashgar, to the Caspian Sea. So we are actually talking about the next step, which is the reality. So that is sort of dead, buried, post-mortem done, everything closed. We are now got to the next big step of bringing out the further data, talking about Southeast Asia, Continental, then China, Japan, all this. So there has been a spread of Bharata, which is called the concept of Krinvanto Vishwam Aryam. It's a Vedic concept where we say that let us go around and make this place, wherever we go in the world, a noble place. Krinvanto, let us do. Vishwam, the world. Aryam, noble place. So that is the concept that Bharata civilization has worked with. That is quite 180 degrees against the idea of colonization. Because the colonization is to loot and plunder. There is a concept of Krinvanto Vishwam is go around with the idea of Vasudeva Kutumbakam. It's a diametrically opposite concept. Colonization is a very limited period idea of 300, 400, 500 years, which lost its, again, its period is over.
And
We get back to
also it's out of India theory, right? It's in the simple way, as opposed to the Aryan invasion mythology, it's the out of India theory. And like you're saying, from Turkey to Southeast Asia and beyond, right? It's
Swarnabhumi, Champadesa, all that.
yeah.
To China, East China, everywhere. So we are discussing those. So we are talking about actually it happened millennia before. See, suppose the Aryan invasion theory was supposed to have happened at 1500 BC. We're talking about 2, 3, 4,000 millennia before that. These migrations took place. So we have opened up a new window, a new door, a new flower. Let's not flog the old things. Because it's part of the course to say that this has been flogged and sealed.
Hmm. Good, great. Thank you for getting that, Ruchiji. Thank you for that. Yeah, people are always very interested in that question. Is Kumuji still with us? I think she dropped. Okay, no, there she is. So fine, we'll ask the question a little bit about just the context of the history, right? Foreigners versus Indian historians, European historians. There's this battle for history, right? Who controls the present controls the past, who controls the past controls the future, and that historical narrative is being battled for and by many different civilizations across the world. Me growing up in America and Los Angeles and the history that I was taught, even in California, is different than what somebody in Georgia or Mississippi in a southern state that is known differently versus anyway. So even within this, and then of course, in India. So how does that play into this? And what's your take on?
Good point. And see, we are not, again, as you said, no, let's not limit it history. We are talking about a much larger canvas, much larger umbrella of civilization. History is but a component of it. So geography is there, history is there, science is there. See, that's why we have got an 8-part course. And history is not limited to a very small component. So the historians will continue to keep on saying the old things till their lives. But things have moved beyond their subject itself now. So that's why the new genre of civilization knowledge has come up, the civilization studies has come up, where history has got a very limited role. So what we call the colonial history, the archaic history views have also been, have only taken by themselves, they've taken a space which is very limited. And that's outdated space. Because you're not talking about civilization. So migrations happen world over. You have migration of butterflies all the way from Canada to Mexico and beyond up to Ecuador and beyond every year. You have migrations happening in East Africa. You have migrations happening among different birds. So migrations happening in different animals. Humans also are from animals. Migrations are bound to happen. So it's not a linear, it's a cyclical migration happens for and continuously happens migration, different reasons for different forms. So let's not be limited just by one linear migration. There have been many migrations right from the times of bees and birds and uh, animals. Humans are also animals. Let's not forget that we are also mammals. So migration is an integral part of life.
And thank you, Ruchi ji. Welcome. Look forward to meeting you in June. July. July
Yeah,
12th.
July 12th. Look forward. Thank you. So this migration is a much larger subject. So let's not limit it to the very limited field of history subject. It's got to do more with evolution and geography and climate and how winds move, how ocean currents move, how
Are there
food habits.
non-Indian historians coloring the story?
See, coloring happens by many people in many ways. So coloring is part of their life. Our life is to add more color and bring out the truth, facts for you to discover it for yourself. Don't accept anything we say. Like Gautama Buddha Siddhartha said, don't accept what I say. Like how a goldsmith will check the quality of gold by touching it, by scratching it on a whetstone. Find out for yourself with your knowledge that what we say, does it satisfy your urge, your learning? That is the Bharati. Just because A historian says or B historian says doesn't become the gospel truth. It's what you think out of your interested learning, whether it is right. Don't accept what we say. We can only place perspectives for you to form your opinion based on your understanding for your lives where you live. We should
Great.
never allow anybody to define us. We define ourselves to ourselves. Don't worry about others defining others in thinking of us. You define ourselves for ourselves.
Actually, that's where we started, endonym.
Yes.
Endonym. That's
Endonym.
where it
Call
is.
yourself what you like. Ashaji makes the point, right? Ideas migrate, right? And that's true. They go back and forth, and we're at a place where the ideas that are rooted in the Bharatiya civilization are now migrating out again, right? With depth and cohesion under a thoughtful civilizational direction, especially because we see the West's might is right, government by power and violence is not long. I mean, it's successful to a point, but it doesn't create the kind of world that is that we want to see, really. And I think we have an alternative, and that's part of why. I think there's also more interest. So I'm glad that you're doing this course, you know, the 8-part series, and so much more. We did go a little bit longer than normal, but I think the questions were good. People were interested. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste to all. Thank you for joining in.
Look forward to meeting most of you in July.